First, I'd just like to thank everybody again for coming out and supporting the program, Blackstone especially. I'll just briefly tell you why I joined the boot camp and what I gained from it, and then I'll just from there proceed to what I'm pursuing. I believe, well, when I saw the posters on campus for this program, I got excited because, as you guys all know, the military teaches us some very valuable and useful skills. Dedication, sacrifice, responsibility, and how to carry out a mission, so to speak. But I feel like there's also a gap of skills we don't learn. Chief among those is the entrepreneurial mindset. So I feel like that was something I was hoping to gain from this program, and I think to a degree I have. First became interested in becoming an entrepreneur after I read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, a couple years ago, and I realized I don't always want to be an employee. Now, since that time, my focus has been in real estate. I've got as I mentioned, I flipped a house and I sold some real estate. I own a house in Florida, and I'm closing on my second house in December 9th. That to me is kind of a side, passive income kind of a business, though. What I'm pursuing now is a website, tellusaboutyouexperience.com. Before I get to that, though, I also want to mention a few things I've learned from the program as far as, to speak to the entrepreneurial mindset. I realized that it's a very real thing when Bruce mentioned in one session that Sergey Brin, Larry Page of Google, and Jeff Bezos from Amazon, they attended the same school here in New York, the Montessori school. When I heard that really clicked to me that there's definitely something to this idea of an entrepreneurial mindset that I've got to try to learn. Another thing I learned in the course was that as an entrepreneur, you're not necessarily trying to be just a sole proprietorship. The ideal business is new, it's scalable, and it's sustainable. So, in light of those ideas, I'll tell you about my website. As you can see, it's an acronym, Tell Us About Your Experience. So, I've registered the domain name and set up a bare bones site, but from there it's going to be a bit of a work in progress. Who are our customers? To begin with, now I'll preface this by saying I think that this idea can be applied to any business, because every business needs customer feedback. Every business has customers. With that said, initially I'm going to target hotels because I feel like it's a very service-related business. They rely on customer service greatly, so I think customer feedback in that sector of the service industry is especially important. So the consumers to begin with would be hotel guests as one segment of our customer, and then our other customers would be the companies themselves, hotel management and staff. The problem that I'm seeking to address, or the value proposition for the consumer, is that I believe consumers want to improve the products and services that they use, in this case the hotel that they're staying in. I think customers also want an interactive experience with management. The manager's not always there. You might check out at 5 in the morning. You had an issue the night before. You don't have time to speak with a manager. And third, there is no social media site that I'm aware of that caters to this desire. The value proposition for the companies, to name a few, and this isn't all inclusive, is that the site will provide very inexpensive customer feedback, for one. Second, not every company, especially smaller hotels, has the time, budget, or inclination to actively seek customer feedback. I feel like, especially with a small business, they don't necessarily see the value in it. The third would be that customers feel their voice has not always been heard, and if that's the case, they oftentimes lash out publicly in a public forum, so to speak, on a TripAdvisor or Google or Expedia. So I feel like this would kind of serve as a mechanism for them to vent, but not vent publicly. And fourth, I believe stronger customer relationships would equivalent to greater customer retention. Obviously, one of the big costs of running a business is gaining customers, but if you can keep the customers you have, then there's obvious benefit there. The solution, as I mentioned, I've registered the domain name and set up kind of a basic bare bones site just to get the ball rolling. The solution I propose is to create and market an interactive website in which consumers communicate directly with the owners and managers of businesses they frequent. As I mentioned, this wouldn't necessarily be relegated to the service industry. I think people, companies that sell products as well would benefit greatly, because I think, let's say you know, Logitech, you use their mouse. Well, everybody's got ideas, and people want their voices heard. I feel like there's a great need in the marketplace for people to contribute to the items that they use and consume. All right, so that's